And to turn it around and say, maybe what I said is true, maybe it isn't, you find out, Caitlin, you're the reporter. Are you lying to us, Caroline? Can you tell us any evidence you have for what you're saying? You're a reporter. You find out. This is part of the total disrespect and debasement that we are seeing here in terms of the relationship with media.
Ever seen a press secretary completely self-destruct on national TV? Trump's spokesperson Caroline Levitt just got absolutely destroyed by Elizabeth Warren in what might be the most embarrassing political beatdown of the year. 1 minute she's fumbling about Russian oil sanctions, the next she's getting schooled by Warren on basic economics. It's like watching someone bring a plastic spoon to a gunfight. Painfully awkward but impossible to look away from. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. The White House briefing room turned into a total circus when Press Secretary Caroline Levitt faced what should have been a pretty routine question about Russian oil sanctions. You could actually see her face go from "I got this" to "oh crap" in about half a second flat. Jackie Heinrich wasn't even trying to play gotcha journalism when she asked about the expired sanctions waiver. This was something any competent press secretary should have known cold. Instead, we got the political equivalent of a student who didn't study for the test. Levitt just stood there blinking like a deer in headlights before admitting, "I don't know about an international sanctions waiver." The press corps couldn't believe what they were hearing. Sebastian Smith from AFP was caught on hot mic whispering, "Did she just say I don't know about an international sanctions waiver?" Caitlin Collins let out this audible sigh that basically translated to, "Are you kidding me right now?" Even Peter Doocy, who's usually ready to lob softballs, just sat there stone-faced. Heinrich wasn't about to let this slide, pointing out that oil prices could jump $5, maybe $6 a barrel because of this expiration. I mean, imagine showing up to represent the White House and not having a clue about something that could make gas prices skyrocket overnight. That's like a firefighter forgetting how water works. But wait, it gets worse. Jonathan Karl jumped in with a question about Trump's brilliant plan to slap tariffs on auto parts and remove exemptions for Canada and Mexico. Levitt's big brain response? Some vague word salad about restoring America as a manufacturing superpower.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Levitt suffered another one of these humiliating meltdowns. She's not prepared for briefings. Her reflex is always to either attack the person asking the question.
No actual plan, no actual numbers, just empty calories of political speak. That's when Caitlin Collins basically stated what everyone with a functioning brainstem was thinking. Tariffs on manufacturing inputs like steel and aluminum would hurt American companies, not help them. The American Automotive Policy Council had already called these tariffs a body blow to the industry that would drive up costs for manufacturers, suppliers, and consumers across the board. But apparently facts are just inconvenient obstacles in Trump land, as reporters kept firing questions about rising prices for everyday goods. You could practically see flop sweat forming on Levitt's forehead. Her expression went from confused to panic to, "Someone please pull the fire alarm so I can escape."
When asked, "Do you have any evidence for the things you've asserted?" goes, "You're a reporter, you find out." A press secretary who claims just not really to know anything other than a handful of talking points.
Elizabeth Warren wasn't just waiting for her turn on Fox News. She was setting a trap that would make even the most seasoned political operatives wince. Brett Baier introduced the segment with his trademark neutral tone, but the split screen told the real story. Warren sat composed and ready for battle, while Levitt still looked shell-shocked from her press room disaster. The moment Warren opened her mouth, you could see Levitt's remaining confidence drain from her face. The senator didn't waste time with pleasantries, launching straight into a brutal assessment of economic reality. When the Dow Jones bleeds 700 points in a single afternoon, that's not winning, that's fear, Warren declared, her voice steady as she rattled off that the S&P had dropped nearly 3%, actual numbers that left Levitt visibly squirming.
It is Caroline Levitt's job as the press secretary to make sure what she's saying is true. Can we trust what you're saying, Caroline? She says to Caitlin Collins, "You're a reporter. Go figure it out.
Poor Levitt tried fighting back with vague references to market fluctuations and transformation, the political equivalent of showing up to a gunfight with a plastic spoon. Every time Levitt opened her mouth, more corporate buzzwords tumbled out: innovation, streamlining, and the particularly tone-deaf cleansing the system. The contrast couldn't have been more stark. Warren speaking like a normal human, while Levitt sounded like she'd swallowed an MBA textbook. The debate got even more painful when Warren shifted to her folksy, relatable style. While Levitt robotically recited talking points, Warren connected directly with viewers about the human impact of these policies. Every time Warren mentioned regular folks losing their savings, Levitt responded with empty rhetoric about economic transformation.
And to turn it around and say, maybe what I said is true, maybe it isn't, you find out, Caitlin, you're the reporter. Are you lying to us, Caroline? Can you tell us any evidence you have for what you're saying? You're a reporter. You find out. This is part of the total disrespect and debasement that we are seeing here in terms of the relationship with media.
Each exchange widening the credibility gap between them. Warren methodically dismantled Levitt point by point like a skilled surgeon removing a tumor. Are they not American citizens? Do their families not matter? And the investors pulling out of US manufacturing zones, are they not part of this nation's fabric? Warren demanded. Each question left Levitt stammering through non-answers, her face growing increasingly panicked as she realized no amount of spin could save her.
Caroline Levitt is a completely different sort of disaster. This is what the press is dealing with, and the press is simply going to have to go around her. And this is what it would be great to say we've got to get her out of there and figure out. This is what it is.
The knockout blow came when Warren focused on what she called the quiet ones, everyday Americans with mortgages and 401ks who were slipping through the cracks of the administration's policies. While Warren painted a vivid picture of families losing pensions and savings, Levitt couldn't offer a single concrete example of how the administration's plans would help them.
For the prosecution of crime of aggression against Ukraine, basically saying Trump wants to let Russia get away with it. About the Trump administration considering withdrawal from the international center.
And that press briefing disaster wasn't even the final act of this comedy show. Before Warren demolished her on Fox, Levitt couldn't handle the most basic reporter questions. She bolted from the briefing room like someone set her podium on fire, leaving journalists with their jaws on the floor. This administration isn't just unprepared, they're completely clueless. It's like watching a kid who didn't study trying to fake their way through an oral exam. The best people Trump promised, more like the best at running away from questions people. Remember folks, when facts meet fantasy, facts win every time. Grumpy Trumpy's team can't handle the truth.